Welcome to my safe haven, everybody. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and joining me here on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. If this is your first time checking out one of my videos, let me introduce myself. My name is Michael. I call myself the Black Gay Comic Geek. And I always say the things that I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the four. So I mostly like to talk about fantasy, sci-fi, but I like to talk about action movies, horror movies, and of course I like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you're interested in, do me a favor. If you like hearing these movie reviews from a black queer perspective, hit that subscribe button. But then once you subscribe, check out the other videos on my channel, because I checked out the analytics on my videos and I noticed that more people are watching my videos that are not subscribed than my actual subscribers. So I'm like, wait, if you're subscribing, that means you want to watch the video. You enjoyed the content. So then why aren't you watching? But yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It'll also help with the YouTube algorithm and getting this video out there, getting my channel out there, so hopefully more people can subscribe and then also watch. So watch, like, share, comment, interact for the all gay rhythm. Now, with that said, guys, we are here to talk about the latest movie starring The Rock and Chris Evans and J.K. Simmons and Lucy Liu, called Red One. It is actually directed by Jake Kasdan, who I believe was the director of Jumanji 1 and 2. I think he did 1 and 2. I went to a red carpet USA world premiere. Well, not world premiere, but USA premiere. And I remember The Rock mentioned that he worked with James Kasdan on Jumanji and Jumanji 2. So I think he was the director, or maybe he was the producer. I don't know. Anyway, so I did go to the world premiere. I saw it early. So this is going to be a non-spoiler review for Red One. But the synopsis for Red One, which comes out tomorrow, I believe, is: when a villain kidnaps Santa Claus from the North Pole, an ELF, extremely large and formidable operative, joins forces with the world's most accomplished tracker to find him and save Christmas. And I'm not gonna lie, like I said, I did go to a red carpet premiere, and while I was there with some friends of mine, and I was just like, this is just gonna be a fun night out. You know, we'll get to, granted, unfortunately, I didn't get to see Chris Evans. I saw The Rock because he did speak before the movie appeared, and I got to meet Aldous Hodge. I got a picture with Aldous Hodge. I told him that I loved him. And that man is fine. But I was just like, this is just going to be a nice night out. But this movie's going to be trash. Like, and I wasn't the only one. I said that with a couple friends of mine. We all were of the consensus that this movie was just going to be garbage. With like a Christmas movie starring The Rock. And then the trailers didn't really do it any service. I was just like, yeah. But I got to say, and interestingly enough, I'm going to be in the minority, because right before I started this review, and then also as I'm looking right now, because I'm looking up the synopsis, I see that it is currently sitting at a 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. But like I said, I'm being a minority because a half hour into this movie, I leaned over to my friend and I was just like, this is actually not that bad. And she was like, right? And I spoke to other friends of mine. We were like, yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And so ultimately, I personally enjoyed this movie. Now, with that said, let me pause. I'm not saying that this is a great movie. I'm not saying that this is like the best Christmas movie of all time. I'm not saying it's comparable to, like, what's that movie with like Jack Frost? Rise of the Guardians, which I really like that movie, and that movie definitely deserved a sequel. I'm not sure why I didn't get a sequel. I would love to see more of Rise of the Guardians. That is one of my favorite, not my favorite, but that's one of my favorite Christmas movies. I need to go back and rewatch that. But I would say for the 2 hours that this movie was, let me see how long this movie was. This movie was 2 hours and 3 minutes. I would say for the 2 hours and 3 minutes that I was in the movie, I had fun. I left the theater, was like, oh, that was decent. So I would say for that aspect, the movie accomplished its job. I didn't leave the movie saying it was trash. But and then also to add another caveat, with that said, to throw in a reference from like my friend Sharonda from Pay Your Weight, should you pay to see this movie in the theater? I would say no. I don't know if it's worth paying to see in theaters, but if it's on like a streaming service, if it ends up on like Netflix or Amazon or something like that, and you have nothing to do, I would say it's worth a watch for that, but I don't know if I would pay to see it in the theaters, but I still enjoyed it enough while I was watching that. And so with that said, to get more into the story and more into the review, I would say that I really enjoyed the chemistry between The Rock and J.K. Simmons. I wish we got to see more of that because J.K. Simmons was barely in the movie, because the movie is about the fact that Santa Claus gets kidnapped. And so because he's kidnapped, he's not really in the movie. But there was definitely some emotional moments between J.K. Simmons and The Rock that I wish they leaned more into. But of course, you get a movie with The Rock. He's going to be The Rock. Virtually every movie that The Rock is in, he's The Rock. And so there's no surprises there. But there was also, not even just with Chris Evans, I mean, with The Rock and J.K. Simmons, but also with Chris Evans and the kid that plays his son, because he plays a father in this movie. And there was way more heart in this movie than I was expecting. And I really liked those moments that happened in the movie. And of course, with it being a Christmas movie, you have that whole Christmas cheer and be a better person message and everything like that they did get into in this movie that I enjoyed. But also with that, I do kind of feel like Chris Evans and The Rock were in a completely different movie because they were being very serious in terms of like their acting, in terms of the way, I guess part of it is like because The Rock's character, he's a bodyguard, but it's also The Rock. He's serious in every role. Like granted, there's some roles where he's more comedic, but like they were very serious, but everybody else like lived into the wackiness of the tone. I would say like one of my favorite characters in this movie, which we didn't get enough of, is we got to see Krampus in this movie. And in this movie, Krampus was the brother of Santa Claus. And he was my favorite character in this movie. He was actually the guy that plays the tall, redheaded guy from Game of Thrones. I can't think of his name. Hold up. Let me look that up. Christopher Hivju. He was from Game of Thrones. He played Krampus, and yeah, he was like the best part of the movie. Like, honestly, I want to see a movie following his character in this world. And while, yes, the movie definitely has its flaws and things that made me scratch my head, because like in this movie, there's like a government organization that they're called MORA, the Mythological Oversight and Restoration Authority. And basically their purpose is to protect and oversee mythological creatures, basically, and make sure that the world doesn't know. Mythological oversight. Basically, the world doesn't know about like Santa Claus, the Loch Ness Monster, and things like that. And with that said, though, there are moments in this movie that like, and this isn't going to be a spoiler because I think this was in the trailer. I've only seen one trailer, but they're like abominable snowmen, and they're fighting like The Rock and Chris Evans, but they're fighting them like in the middle of a beach in public. And I'm just like, if this world is supposed to be a secret from everybody else, like, how is it that people don't know about them? Because they're clearly fighting abominable snowmen on a beach in public. Like, people will have out their camera phones. People would know about everything that's happening. Like, there's no way you can keep this a secret, or other things. There was another moment where like The Rock used like his power to like make a car. It's almost like an Ant-Man size power. He takes a toy car and makes it regular car size to drive around, and he does it in public. And I'm just like, again, how do people not know about this world? Or they're fighting in public. So I'm like, that was a question that I had throughout the movie. Like, that didn't make sense to me. And then also, like, I wish they explained a little bit of this world a little bit more, because like they talk about how Santa Claus, or even The Rock's character, they're not human, but they don't really go into it. Like, what is Santa Claus? Is he a cosmic being? Is he a god? What is The Rock? They don't really go into it. They don't really explain it. It's almost kind of like it's a Santa Claus movie. Just go with it, which is fine. But considering what they introduced in this, I was like, I need them to explain this a little bit more. Or like they make this big deal about, because Santa Claus gets kidnapped, and they make this big deal about if Santa Claus isn't back to deliver presents on Christmas, they make it seem like the world is going to end or the world is going to implode. And like, I wish they explained further, like, what's gonna happen if Santa Claus doesn't get back in time for Christmas, other than like Christmas is gonna be ruined. Okay, let's just get him. What about next Christmas? We can get him back for next Christmas. Like, is it really gonna be that big of a deal? Especially because being that this world does take place in the real world and in today's society, they also showed that parents are still buying gifts for their kids. So like, what's the difference between like my parent giving me a gift and like if Santa Claus gives me a gift? Like, why does it matter ultimately? But they make it seem like Santa's needed more than ever. But like, I was just like, but why though? Like, but why though? Like, I don't get it. But despite having those questions and thought processes, and yeah, this movie does have flaws, like I said, I still had a fun time. It was still interesting enough that I enjoyed it. So yeah, overall, I would just say the movie is serviceable. Is this something I would think about long term as like a cult classic or something I'd want to revisit again? More than likely, no. But it was fine for what it is. And if they were to do a sequel, especially with Krampus, I would definitely want to check out a movie with this version of Krampus. Like I said, he was my favorite character of the movie. But yeah, like for the time that I sat in the theater, I was just like, all right, it was decent. But that's just me. Like I said, I know I'm going to be in the minority. I can already tell that I'm in the minority with it being 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. But with that said, are you guys interested in checking out Red One? Probably not after seeing 37% on Rotten Tomatoes and then me basically just saying, I was well, but 91% say they liked the movie on Google. But yeah, it is what it is. It's like I said, it's not something I would want to watch again. It's not something I would pay. Thankfully, I didn't have to pay to see it in theaters, but it was a decent time out. I didn't leave the theater like, oh, that was utterly. I didn't leave the theater basically saying, oh, that was utterly trash. You're not seeing me wear my robe. So I would say, being that I went in with extremely low expectations, and I was just like, all right, that was cute. But with that, if you do end up checking out Red One, come back here and let me know what you think. I don't know. I might be scared. You might be like, Michael, this is trash. I'm never watching any review of yours ever again. But also, remember, it's my opinion. My opinion is different, but that's the great thing about movies. We can come back and have a discussion as long as it is respectful. So what did you think about Red One? Or maybe you're not interested in checking out Red One. Either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. To boost this video for the algorithm, again, watch, like, share, comment, interact for the all gay rhythm. This is one of your first time checking out one of my videos. Hopefully check out the other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow, and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.